here's what you need to make this delicious appetizer. I've got my Annie's Naturals gluten-free mustard, my Code 3 Spices Rescue Rub. I chose the all-purpose. This is what I use most. I love the way it just flavors the chicken. It's not too spicy. It's just perfect. And then I've got my chicken, of course, my plastic gloves, because I do not like to touch raw chicken, my tongs, and my 1 gallon Ziploc bag. Let's get started. As you can see, I've added about 2 to 3 tablespoons of the mustard. This is going to be very dependent on how much chicken you have. So the measurement is not exact. I would start with probably 1 to 2 tablespoons and make sure you generously cover the chicken. And if you need more, then add it. But if you're pretty much covered, you can stop there. Same thing with the rub. That's going to be our next step. And what I do is I just kind of pour some in, and then I want to make sure that each one has enough rub on it. So as you can see, I'm pretty light on the rub here, and I'm going to add more because this is what's going to really give it the flavor. And so I'm just going to keep on massaging, and here I would probably start massaging them individually. You don't want it to be too clumpy on just like certain pieces. So you want to kind of make a paste between the mustard and the dry rub. And you want to make sure that each individual piece is generously covered. So this is what your chicken should look like once it's ready to be put in the Ziploc bag and stored overnight. And you'll just add each piece with the tongs. You could even use your hands, you know, if you have the gloves, or if you are okay just using your hands. You don't need the tongs. I just prefer them. And then once I've put all the pieces in, I'm going to seal the Ziploc bag and store it in the refrigerator overnight. So once you've refrigerated the chicken overnight, you're going to remove the Ziploc bag from the refrigerator, and I've placed a piece of parchment paper over a cookie sheet, and I've cut an extra piece just like this, just like a rectangle. Kind of like when you're wrapping a gift and you run out of wrapping paper. What's going to happen is we're going to dump the chicken onto the middle of this parchment paper. We're going to fold it in, then fold it in again, and there's going to be this open space, and that's where we're going to put this extra piece of parchment paper so that it's completely covered and ready to go in the oven. So I'm going to go ahead and dump out my chicken, and I'm going to place it on the parchment paper, and I'm going to make sure that I don't layer any of the pieces. So I don't want any of the pieces on top of another piece. And we're ready. So now I'm going to place this extra piece of parchment paper over the top, and I'm going to fold the flaps in like this, and I'm going to take the sides and just fold them under. And it's ready to go in the oven, about 6 to 7 hours on 200. You're going to slow cook the Drummies. They're going to taste wonderful. They're going to be so moist. You're going to love them. Just make sure that you keep an eye on your oven. All ovens cook differently, so the times may vary. I tend to do 200 for 6 hours, and it works wonderful. I hope you enjoyed this look over my shoulder.